Good morning students, I am Tamil Lagan. Now I am going to present the topic for Pulse Code Modulation. Pulse Code Modulation is also called PCM. First of all, modulation. What is the meaning of modulation? Modulation technique by using the transmitted the signal from low distance to long distance. How it is working? The modulation technique first used the message signal is overcoming with the carrier signal. The message signal and then carrier signal is mixed through the modulation technique and then travel from low distance to long distance. That is the main application of the modulation signal. The digital and analog signals are low frequency and hence cannot be transmitted to long distance. These signals are required some carrier wave. So this carrier also known as carrier wave or high frequency signal. So message signal is a low frequency and then carrier signal is a high frequency. The placement of low frequency signal over the high frequency signal is known as modulation technique, modulation signal. That process is called modulation. Next, demodulation. Demodulation means the modulated signal receives by the receiver and then finally separate from the message signal and then carrier signal. That is called demodulation techniques. The modulation and then demodulation technique are used analog and then digital communication techniques. Next, pulse code modulation. First of all, what is meant by pulse code modulation? The analog signal is converted to the digital signal, basically used sampling method and then quantization method. So pure analog signal is converted into totally full digital signal. That process is called pulse code modulation. By using the technique of pulse code modulation, the amplitude of the sound wave is sampled at regular intervals and translated into binary number. Okay, the analog signal is taken first an input signal. The analog signal is converted into binary signal and then finally it translated to the binary numbers. Okay, that is called pulse code techniques. This is the block diagram of pulse code modulation. First, analog signal is an input signal. That signal is sampled to the sampling process. Sampling process meaning sampling frequency is greater than or equal to twice that maximum frequency. That is called sampling process. Next, the sample signal is transferred to the quantization techniques. So, the quantization method, only amplitude of the analog signal is converted into pure digital signal. So totally amplitude and then frequency signal are two signals are two ranges of the signal is converted into digital signals. The digital signal is encoded to the encoding medium. So finally the digital signal is received from the digital data like 1100 like this. So sampling and quantization method using analog signal and then digital signal is converted into digital signals. By using pulse amplitude modulation signal technique also used in the quantization techniques. So amplitude of the pulse signal is converted into digital signal. This is the block diagram of the pulse code modulation technique. Next, sampling. What is the meaning of sampling? So analog signal is sampled every sampling interval. Okay, sampling time or sampling interval, that is called sampling. TS is referred to the sampling interval. So sampling frequency is inversely proportional to the sampling interval, that is called sampling rate. Basically there are three sampling methods are used. One is an ideal and then second one is a natural, third one is a flat off. Ideal means the impulse at each sampling instant. Natural means pulse of short width with varying amplitude. Next, flat off means the sampled and hold like natural but with the single amplitude value. This is the diagram difference between three types of sampling methods. First one an ideal sampling, second one is natural sampling, third one is an flat top sampling. These are the main difference between three sampling technique methods. Next, quantization. Quantization means the amplitude of the analog signal is converted into purely digital signals and then finally converted into digital data. That is called quantization method. To process of measuring the numerical values of the sample and giving them the table value in the suitable scale. So linear quantizing is where the quantizing intervals are the same size. This is called quantizing method, step by step conversion process. This is the application of the pulse code modulation. compact disc, digital telephony, digital audio applications. These are the application of the pulse code modulation techniques.